Hey guys, today we're going to talk about stuff that pisses me off. Don't you love how guys like to come to your page and tell you how to do your own shit, you know? First thing I do when I see that, guys that come on my page and say like, hey, you should do this, or you shouldn't do that, or you should stop doing this. First thing I do is I click on their page, and usually it says like one person is subscribed to them, which means it's probably a troll site. And then I also look to see if they have any videos, and typically they have like 2 or 1 or 0, so it's always fun to see guys trying to get you to do something on your site and they don't do it themselves. A few months ago I talked about, maybe not a few months ago, last month, I talked about climate change. And the funny thing that I always hear people talking about that's funny is that they talk about climate change in a way where sea levels rise 16 feet. Basically right now that's what we're looking at. No matter what, sea levels are going to rise 16 feet. And that's if we stop using vehicles and stop using all coal and things that are ruining the environment right now. And obviously that's not going to happen because people are like, climate change is bullshit, and they keep driving their car. So that's not going to change. So we're at least 16 feet right now within the next, by 2050 they're saying. But they're talking about in the next 50 years that the ice caps could melt, north and south. And that could mean sea level rises way higher than 16 feet. But you don't only have to worry about sea level rises. People like go past all the other stuff that's going to be happening. They just had a tornado go through China. You're talking about earthquakes, about a lot of weight on the seafloor, which is going to make more earthquakes, bigger typhoons. The sea is going to desalinate, which means most of the sea life in the sea that won't be able to deal with that will actually die. So you're going to end up losing most of the sea life. But it's not going to be desalinated enough to where animals that can live in the water can live in that water, because that's going to be too much salt. So basically you're going to kill off a lot of the sea creatures, sharks, whales, dolphins, seals, things like that live in the water. Next, you're going to lose a lot of shoreline. And the problem with that is, in most countries, the shoreline is where most of your fruit grows, and things like avocados, nuts, almost every kind of fruit that you can think of outside of apples and peaches. We grow those in Colorado. So when I was in Colorado, we actually have peach farms that grow really good peaches, and they have apples in Nebraska and Kansas and stuff like that. So like the Arbor Day, I went to the Arbor place one time in Nebraska. It's in like the southeast corner of Nebraska. So yeah, so you'll still be able to get apples. But the other problem that we have is the bees are dying off. And they're dying off because of pesticides due to Monsanto. So if we lose the bees, we lose everything. We lose all of our problems, And then we have like flooding. Think if you only get a 16-foot sea level rise. What happens when the tide comes in? Now you got 16 feet seas, and usually the tide comes in about 5-10 feet up the beach. What happens when it's 16 feet higher and it comes up another 15 or 20 feet into the beach at night? So you're losing all of your land. A lot of the places where they grow food for America is in Florida, along the coast, everything along the coast. So you're going to lose all that land, and a lot of the animals are going to move inland, and the climate's going to change. When they talk about climate change, I mean for real, the climate's going to change. You're going to start having more drastic winters. Places that maybe used to be pretty green are going to turn to deserts. where other places that might have been deserts are going to turn into mush because it's going to rain all the time. You know, you're gonna have so many more problems than just sea level rise. You know, storms are just going to get massive. You know, huge electrical storms where like lightning is striking every place. You know, so you're talking about a lot more than just, you know, the sea level rise. So a lot of people that talk about climate change don't seem to get it. Who else out there can't stand the grammar Nazis? You know, those guys that come on your page, they're kind of the same people that work at Fox News, you know. The guys that you'll go on their page or they'll come on yours and they'll say something kind of stupid and you'll point out some stuff and you'll miss an apostrophe or misspell a word, so they got to come on there and tell you how to spell, and they completely disregard what you just said. And the funny thing is if you know how to spell, this is where a lot of people are stupid, you know. If you know how to spell what the fuck I just wrote, oh, you didn't mean that, you meant this, and you should have put a punctuation there. If you can understand that, you're a fucking asshole. Because you just understood what the fuck I said then. Because you understood what I meant. And that's the whole point. You know? When there's a lot of people on YouTube from other countries, and English isn't their first language. I'm one of them. So when English isn't your first language and you're just on there trying to get a point across or trying to tell somebody something that you think, and you read the comment, see some mispronunciation, and then you're like, oh, what a fucking stupid ass, and you get on the thing and you just write that, you don't even acknowledge what they just fucking wrote, you know? Fox News loves to do shit like that. That's some Fox News bullshit, you know? I hate fucking grammar Nazis. Those guys are fucking assholes, man. If you think the only way to get your point across is through perfect punctuation and perfect spelling, you're a fucking idiot. It doesn't matter how you say it. If you can understand it, that's what matters. Can you understand what somebody has just said? So if you look at a post on Facebook or Twitter or something like that, and you can read through it and, you know, you go, oh, okay, I know what they mean. Then they put their point across. What the fuck are you trying to spell? This isn't fucking high school. This isn't English 101. So you don't need to be pointing out people's misspellings. They're not going to write it down and put it on a Post-it note above their computer and go, oh, next time I'll remember that. They don't give a fuck. Shut the fuck up. They're not asking you for English lessons. It's fucking YouTube. Get over yourself. Now this is one that I think is kind of funny. America's pissed off at Russia because they've got in on the ISIS game. And they're over there. They're saying, most people are saying that Russia is going to eliminate ISIS in a month. And the reason why America is pissed off about that is because America isn't in the game to get rid of terrorists. They've never wanted to get rid of terrorists. Their goal is to actually keep terrorists so that they can start other cells. That's why they go over there and they bomb people and they kill families, and they don't really care who they kill. They just have these drone strikes now, and they just drone strike whatever they feel like. And they accidentally kill hundreds of people, and then those people become ISIS members. And that gets them to build up. And then they can say, well, the ISIS threat is getting bigger and bigger. And then they turn to some other thing, and then they turn to some other thing, and it keeps them going. So if you can get rid of all of them, then there's not going to be anybody to fight. And that means these huge, massive companies that build ships and tanks and drones and all this stuff are going to go out of business. And that's the problem. America doesn't want to get rid of these people. They just want to act like they're getting rid of these people. They want to drone strike, and they drone strike things that aren't really targets. You know, like there'll be targets where they say, well, we suspected there was a couple ISIS members there. you know. So we drone strike that, and then you hear about on the news that, you know, a bunch of women and children died, and they go, oh well, it's life. So that's what they're pissed off about. They're not pissed off that Russia's in the fucking fight. They're pissed off that Russia and Iran are going to go in there and they want to just eliminate it. They're tired of having America and their countries fighting, and they want to get it done. They want to get it done and over with, because America will go over there and fight for 10, 15 years like they've been doing in Iraq. They'll go over there and just fight and fight and fight and fight forever and never win. And we're supposed to have the coolest, most exotic army there is in the world, yet we can't end a fight in Iraq in, what, 15 years? 16 years now? You know? We went into Iraq in, what, 2003 or some shit like that? We're still there now? It's been like 12 years? You know, and we're so awesome, we're so amazing, we have such an amazing Air Force and Marines and Army and all this bullshit, and we can't go into a country full of fucking guys living in the desert in a dress, and we can't end the fucking war in 12 fucking years? What is this, Vietnam? Now, something that really pisses me off is, I notice on the net, I've talked about this before, but I notice on the net, and this is something that will, you know, guys can see every day. When you go on the net and you see transgenders trying to be women, or women just being women, they tend to talk about some really vapid shit that has like no significance in society, you know. When guys talk about things, they typically talk about some real shit. You know, I very rarely, unless I listen to gays or the guys that get on and talk about video games, you know, very few men get on YouTube and talk about vapid bullshit. It's usually pretty entertaining stuff, you know. But you'll see these women that they really add nothing to society. They kind of never have. And I recently, actually last night, I watched a movie again in the MGTOW mindset. And you guys might take a look at it. It's the movie Legally Blonde. And there's so much fodder there for the MGTOW, you know, to look at. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. If you're you know, red pill and not purple or blue pill, you might see some cool shit, you know. So yeah, I thought it was quite funny, especially about the first 30 minutes of the movie. It's made up in a way where the girl in the movie is graduating college with a degree, an associate's degree in like clothing or something. Like what she plans on doing with that, I don't know. But basically, she got a softball career. And her boyfriend, she thought he was going to ask her to marry him. And he was going off to Harvard and going to Harvard Law. And she thought he was going to ask her to marry him. And he didn't. He broke up with her. He said he needed somebody better. And she, growing up in Hollywood, thought she was just awesome. And he was from the East Coast. She was from the West Coast. So she thought she was a great catch. And he told her basically that she was not a great catch, that she was just some dippy blonde, and he wanted to run for office, you know, and be like a senator or something like that by the time he was 30. And he didn't want a dippy blonde standing next to him. He had to have somebody with some credibility. So he ended up dating some girl that had the last name of Vanderbilt, you know. So she ends up taking her test and going to Harvard Law. And this is something they kind of never touched on in the movie, is she didn't go there because she wanted to get a law degree. She went there to impress him, to try to get him back. And she never really planned on being a lawyer. And she just kind of stumbled into it, you know, of being a lawyer. And in the whole thing, they never pointed out that she was really good at being a lawyer. She won a case for some girl that was her friend from her college, and she was a vapid chick too, you know. So it was a really it's kind of a really eye-opening thing, and if you can sit through a vapid kind of teeny bopper, kind of like high schooly kind of movie, it's an eye-opener for you. Here's something that I might get a lot of flack for, something I've never understood. There's a YouTuber on the internet that I like to watch, and she's known for her. I think her YouTube site is One Take Mandy, and there something I've always noticed about lesbian girls that I've never quite understood. What is it about lesbian girls? They say they don't like guys, but a lot of lesbian girls are attracted to girls who look like guys. I don't understand that. Like butch guys, the butch lesbians. I've never understood why can you not be lesbian and look like a woman? If you're attracted to women, then why aren't you attracted to women? I've never understood that. Where they say like I'm a lesbian, the first thing they do is they cut off their hair. They buzz cut their hair or something. I don't understand that. How that is a thing. Why that's a thing. And then they grow their leg hair out. And then they grow their armpit hair out. They're trying to look like a dude. They're trying to say that women who are attracted to women aren't attracted to women. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, as a transgender that likes women, I like women. I want a woman. I want a woman in a dress with shaved armpits, long hair, makeup, a pretty girl. I don't want a girl with a buzz cut that looks like she just got out of the Marines, I don't want her to look like G.I. Jane, that's not what I consider, sexy. That's not, I don't get it. So another thing that pisses me off is the Mangina backpedaling that I see a lot on the internet. I see these guys that get on my site. I don't know if they're guys. They could be chicks just posing as guys. But there's these guys that get on my channel and get on other people's channel, or people like John Idarola on fucking Think Tank, and it seems to be getting worse and worse lately. I don't know what it is with the TYT network. They're getting worse and worse, with their Mangina bullshit, their white knighting. They're getting like lame. They're talking about a lot of female issues and shit like that. And every time an issue comes up with a woman that does something, they act like it's not that big of a deal. And as soon as it's a dude, they freak out. So I don't get it. But they're always like backpedaling. They'll say something, and as soon as one of the girls on the thing, this is what's funny too, because like Jink Uger is the owner of TYT. He's like the leader, and even he doesn't like step on the toes of like Anna Kasparian, and these people. They'll say something, and he'll go, "Well, I don't believe that," blah blah blah, and then she'll get mad, and then he'll backpedal, because his little man pussy starts to leak, I guess. And tell me, does this sound crazy? I've had a really hard time in my life. I think most of the guys will tell you that if you've watched any of my old videos and about my life story and stuff. I find it really hard to believe like how much trouble I've had in like the last say 10, 15 years, in my life. And I have this recurring thought that maybe I actually died. It's kind of a crazy thought. Maybe I actually did die, and this is hell. Think about that. Think about that mindfuck. That I'm actually in hell right now. That I'm an atheist, but like, every time I go to do something that, like I told you in the last video, every time I try to do something, everybody else that I watch on the internet, everybody else has like the same equipment, the same stuff, and is able to do something and makes it look easy. And then I try to do it, I even work on it a lot, and I never can do it, you know? And I'm left there going like, what the fuck, you know? And that's what I think is, you know, kind of odd. You know, I don't see how it can be possible. It seems like it's totally impossible that this is happening to me. So that's just been a reoccurring thing, that maybe I actually committed suicide, and that I was actually dead, and that when I woke up, I didn't actually wake up. Well, that's all I thought I'd talk about. Just some kind of worthless, lame bullshit. Just thought I'd throw these ideas out there and see what you guys had to say. You know, throw them out there, see what sticks. So, if you guys like this video, if you want to see more stuff like this, I doubt you will, but I'm just throwing some stuff out there. Just put it in the section below. Share, like, and subscribe. Have a nice day. I have questions. You know, I have a lot of questions about life. You know, like, do fish get seasick?